Okay, this video is going to deal with rating the NHL draft picks, the draftees. So here's the list from this year that we're rating. Some of them are second round players that we're rating now. Ideally, every year we'd only be doing the first rounders, but when we come up a little short on total draft picks, the new WHL rule is that we fill in with second rounders until we have enough. So again, I'm not done with this season, so I'm going to go back and look at last season as an example. The draft picks, it's not imperative to get them spot on, because for the most part, these guys just aren't going to make an impact in the simulator for a few years until they get some solid NHL data. But they are useful for the WFHL, and some managers do like to play their rookies a little bit. I'm one of them. I like to see the young guys do something, so they can't be totally unusable. Now, for total rating can't be higher than 70 for NHL draft picks. So keep that in mind. And we don't want to be giving anyone like 8s and 9s. Even 7s should be pretty rare for them at skills. Now, like power, that one can exceed 7. If it's a big guy, it can exceed 7. But for the most part, these guys have been getting like 4, 5, and 6 are the primary ratings you're going to give to these guys. Injury, I pretty much always give them a 6 for injury, unless guys, there's a couple of them in here that have had, and it looks like I gave the second rounders a 5 last year. A couple guys, Hendrix Lapierre, he was coming off of, he was drafted after a season that he had a lot of injuries, so I brought him down. Honestly, it really doesn't matter, because he's not going to be in the WHL anytime soon, other than riding a reserve roster or being a depth player in the WFHL. Now, like Lafreniere, I don't know how to say his name really. You should think the first overall pick I would, but I gave him a 7 because he was supposed to be like absolute top tier generational guy, and in hindsight I should have given him a 6. And then so that's like a guy I give him a 7 if I expect him to play in the NHL right away. And there's very few of them, McDavid, Crosby types, guys that usually first overall, sometimes second overall. Those guys that you just know they're going to make an immediate NHL impact, they can have a 7. Otherwise, if they're like a top prospect, I'll give them a 6. If they're kind of average, a 5. And then everything else, I fill in a lot of these. You can see on this year, I started filling in some stuff, not too much, off of when I'm watching the NHL draft. I'll record it and I'll just go in and say, again, 4, 5, 6 is mostly the range on shooting. So I don't really bother with looking up their totals and trying to project that to the NHL. I'm saying, is the guy a big shooter? Does he shoot a lot and score a lot? He's going to get a 6. Is he kind of average in there? He's going to get a 5. Does his goal total need to come up? Is it not so good? 4. Defensemen are going to kind of be a little bit lower than that, so like they can drop down into the 3s. I don't think I rated any forwards at a 3. Noel Gunler, he got a 3 last year. I guess he just didn't have a lot of goals. Same thing, so checking defensively, if they're okay, if they're just an average defensive player, 5. If they're known for being a little bit better defensively, two-way guys, Quentin Byfield, he's supposed to become a good two-way center. I give him a 6 to start out with. But all these things are just initial ratings. They're not meant to be a determining factor, like a solid, this is who they are, this is what they're going to be for their career. It's just a real quick initial. I don't spend a whole lot of time on these guys because, like I said, they're just not going to impact our league anytime soon. Once they get a couple NHL seasons under their belt, then we're going to get a more accurate picture, and their ratings are going to look way different from this.